our existence to the world.
Hurry, Bullwinkle! The show's about to start!
Oh, I'm coming as fast as I can. Do not ask for your poor or you're hungry.
We do not want your tired and sick.
It is the corrupt we claim.
It is your evil that will be good morning, Vietnam!
Welcome to the edge of the falls. You people have been chosen to reveal our existence to the world. We're two guys who have no fear of making fun of anyone or anything that presents itself worthy to us. Tonight, we're joined by Bill Kennedy. I'm Brett Byro, a.k.a. The Madman, and I'm tired of this shit.
And I'm Peter Green, a.k.a. The Mystic, and I'm tired of it too. And together we are
The Edge of the Falls.
Broadcasting with more power, more honesty, and how shall I say it?
Balls, Peter, balls!
Yeah, balls. Than any other wannabe show host in this city. All right, well, we're getting things in here settled up nicely, and we do have our special guest in the audience today. He is the audience. That's Bill Kennedy.
Yep.
Hello.
I think really what we should do is we just got a message from Ricky Pera, and I know she's bouncing out of New York City, and she's got another nurse with her. Let's call her and talk to her for a couple minutes, yes?
Hey, sounds good. Sure. And let's show you here. We just had to get everything up and running. There's Bill Kennedy live in the studio.
Hello.
He can actually see himself now on his monitor, so
wow.
That's awesome. But we'll be back to you. You're going to give her a call there, Brett?
Yep, I'm setting it up right now.
All right, I won't have her graphic up because we're going to be alternating three screens, but that'll be Nikki Parra calling from New York. Ricky. Why did I call her Nikki? Oh, right, because she could have been a predator, sexual predator effing lawyer. How's everybody out there tonight? We've got Ricky. Who else have we got out there today? Let's have a quick look and see who might be chiming in. Isn't that great? Wait a minute. Ricky Frank says he's got balls. That's good. And Jennifer should have picked some CCR or Skinner.
Somehow I'm thinking old shriveled up balls, but
yeah. Jennifer, we can't use copyrighted music, otherwise Facebook snags it up. So don't worry, we use whatever we can that doesn't violate copyright. But that's
Jennifer
us.
Villarreal. How the hell are you? I'm glad to see you on here.
All right, so your mic is up for your telephone feed there, Brett. And how is Mr. Kennedy today? You doing all right?
I'm doing all right, yeah. Just another day in paradise.
Thought you lived in Niagara Falls.
Exactly. I'm in paradise.
One ringy dingy. It's great to have Bill with us.
What's up?
Ricky Pera, how the hell are you? How's New York City?
How are you?
I'm good. How's New York City treating you? I see you're coming home, huh?
I am supposed to be coming home mid-next week.
Yeah. Are you excited?
I am.
All right, tell us. You're on, and we got a bunch of people listening. Tell us who you are, what you're doing, where you at, what's going on. Everybody's like, who the hell is he talking to?
Well, I am Ricky Pera. I am a registered nurse working a COVID unit in Manhattan, New York. I have my friend here, Evelyn. She also works the COVID unit with me. She's from Tampa, Florida. Yay! We're here in New York, freezing our asses off.
I know. This is some bullshit, ain't it? We're with you. Trust me. This weather is bipolar to say the least.
Hi, Evelyn. Hi, everybody.
Cool. We got Bill Kennedy in studio, sitting here listening to you too. So
hi, Ricky.
And I see some other people on here saying hi to you. Go ahead, Bill.
Hello, Ricky. Again, like I said last time, super proud of you, but I'm also sure you're looking forward to, whatever day you're leaving next week to come home and actually truly come home, not just to go to Florida.
Right.
But listen, I am trying to come into Buffalo on Monday or Tuesday. It would be the 18th or 19th to kidnap my nephew and bring him to Florida with me.
Yeah, how long are you going to be here for?
Available. I'm going to stay for probably 2 days.
Yeah, we're down. No matter what, we have to have some sort of party. So whether they say
I gotta see everybody. Yep. I miss you all.
Yep. Cool. All right.
Socially distant party.
Yeah. Of course. Come on, you know me. Mr. Law-abiding Brett Byro.
Socially distancing. I'm hugging and kissing everyone.
Cool. All right. So, since they're cutting you loose down there, or your contract's over, tell us, give us, the scoop. What's going on?
Well, I don't agree with them ending the contract because they haven't opened up the city yet. What do you think, Evelyn?
Put Evelyn on the phone so we can talk to her, will you?
Sweetheart, she's here with me. I don't agree with them ending the contract yet. They're ending. My contract goes until the 16th. They're supposed to be opening things up on the 15th. No! So what happens after that? When shit blows up and all of us travelers are gone and they're left with skin and bones with what they started with.
Listen, Ricky, when they brought you guys in there, is it because they needed the help? There wasn't enough nurses in New York City. Enlighten us. And I hate to knock on the New York City nurses, but why did they bring in so many traveling nurses? Was it lack of?
Well, they did need us, but the past 2 weeks we have gotten these lovely group meetings in the morning when we arrive to work. How I don't know about other hospitals, but the hospital that Evelyn and I have been working at, we are now the highest ranked hospital in New York, Manhattan, not New York City, in Manhattan, because of patient care, patient services, patient satisfaction. You know that survey they give you when you go home from the emergency room?
Yep.
Well, I can assure you it's not just because of the regular staff, because now there's an overabundance of staff, which primarily is us, that is taking care of all these people while the regular staff is floating around. They're support staff, but the travelers are the actual staff taking care of the patients.
Okay, I get it. So, you're not just there taking up space. You guys are actually, on the front lines.
Oh,
You're doing all the work,
they work us like slaves in a cotton field. I've had more patients in a shift here than I've ever had in any emergency room, any department ever.
Well,
it's ridiculous.
Where's Evelyn from? Are we on speakerphone?
Say hi. Hi, I'm from Claremont, Florida.
Hi, Evelyn. Thank you for going down there and taking care of the sickness in New York City and doing it of your own free will. I'm sure that you didn't have to do this. Anyways, I'm sure you've heard it a bunch of times already. Some of us thank you.
Right. You're welcome. I did it for the love of Cuomo. Yeah. He wants to tax all of us non-residents.
I know, we've seen that. He's an asshole. You guys, you already know that. You know how I feel. We need to get rid of the Como. So, he's causing nothing but problems here in New York. And that's just my opinion.
Hey, Evelyn.
Oh.
Are you still on the line, or is that Ricky?
We're here.
Okay, Evelyn. Who's at home waiting for you to come back? Do you have kids, husband, boyfriend?
My husband of 40 years.
Oh, God bless you both.
Awesome.
Yeah.
He can't wait till I get home.
Good.
And he's awesome. He's made her masks. He's made her hair covers. He learned how to sew while she was gone. Her husband is amazing.
Yep, that's awesome, Ricky. Ricky, where'd you get the accent? You pick up an accent, so now all of a sudden you have a hick accent.
I don't know. It's a thing. It's from Pensacola.
Yep, that's probably what it was.
Those hicks from Pensacola.
Yep. Damn it, hillbillies. Okay. So, I'm trying to think. What's the COVID cases look like? I'm assuming they're dying down, or they wouldn't be getting rid of you guys.
Yes, they are. They're dying down.
Okay, but that's a good thing.
The problem is the new cases are dying down, but the patients that they sent home 2 weeks ago and said, "Oh, hey, you're sick, but you're not that sick. You'll probably recover at home." They're still feeling sick, so they're coming back. But now they open up the hospitals. 2 weeks ago, the hospitals were closed to anybody and everybody unless they were suspected COVID. Now, everybody and their mother can come to the hospital. So we have COVID cases, but there's an overwhelming return factor of people that were diagnosed weeks ago and patients that just haven't been coming in because they weren't allowed to come in.
Tony Pasquale, in Arizona. I want to know where you got that number, 1,603 deaths today in the U.S. And that I'm sure that you're trying to insinuate that those are all COVID related.
Yes, they are.
Oh, so you've heard the same thing?
Yes, for sure.
Who's answering that question, Ricky?
It's Evelyn.
Evelyn? Okay.
Evelyn's really smart, you can tell.
And Ricky is really not.
Well, she's from here. Come on. We check our brain cells at the train station.
Ricky, Jennifer Villarreal, she is another nurse. She's asking, are they still recruiting, more nurses from other states, or is that dying down now?
Well, they're recruiting more nurses from upstate New York to come into downstate and help out at different hospitals. And they are still recruiting for ICU because that is where most of the critical patients went, and they don't have enough skilled nurses to work ICU. But as far as emergency goes, no, they're not requiring emergency services.
Okay. That's got to be a good thing, no matter how you look at it, right? I know it sucks.
Evelyn and I are ready to go back to sunny Florida.
Yeah,
we're freezing our asses off here.
I know it sucks for you guys, that you're working, you're making more money, but it's good for let's get open. We're tired of this shit.
No kidding. I got a question for you, ladies. That drug remdesivir, I think it's called. I know it ends with desivir, but are you familiar with that? The one they've been using to treat the COVID patients?
Well, it's used just to stop replicating the virus.
Right.
Is it working?
Is it working? Yeah, you're seeing it front line.
Well, what's working is the transfusion of COVID patients' plasma. That's working.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so it really is antibodies that you carry in your body, and that is killing the virus in others.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. All right. So they need some viral blood in them, don't they?
I'm tired of this shit.
Ricky, you know what? It's always a pleasure. You know that we're going to talk to you more, on this, and I'm looking forward to having a beer with you when you get home. Make sure you message us, and we're going to have.
You better make sure you're free, like May 19th-ish.
May 19th, for sure. As a matter of fact, one of those days you'll have to come in and do the show with me and Peter. So, let's get you on here live.
We'll have Ricky Para Day here in Niagara Falls. We'll have Ricky Para Day.
Yeah, for sure. All right, we will.
Bill Kennedy will give you the keys to the city. There you go.
I love Bill. He's awesome.
He really is. Good friend of the show.
Good. Ricky, thank you so much. Evelyn, thank you for taking the time out to talk to us for a few minutes. And I'm sure that we will be hollering at both of you guys soon.
All right, take care, Evelyn.
Cheers.
Bye, Ricky.
All right, bye-bye, guys.
All right, what do you say, guys?
Bye.
I'm gonna run word of the day, and we'll come right back, and we'll start in with our good friend Bill Kennedy. And now, word of the day brought to you by Edge of the Falls. Today's word is nuisance. Nuisance. And now, our very own madman will use the word in a sentence.
Nuisance. Sexual predator lawyers aren't just a nuisance. They are a fucking threat to women everywhere and must be stopped. Nuisance.
Thanks for joining us for Word of the Day on the Edge of the Falls.
Yeah, so you guys know how I feel already. So again, when you come at me and you say I will not be interviewed by you, and I will not this, and I will my arms reach.
You got his voice perfectly.
Yeah, I know that's kind of the way he talks. So like a little girlish. If you ever seen him, anyways, someone had said to me, "Oh, you're too hard on Nick." How the fuck are we too hard on someone who's using his position to solicit sex from other women? Get the hell out of here.
I like the way you said other women.
Yeah.
I think he's a lesbian. Yeah.
You know what? Unfortunately, look at him. It's the only way he's getting laid.
No kidding. But, hey, it's good to have Bill in the studio today.
Yeah, hi, Bill.
Hello. Hello. It's amazing how many people know Bill Kennedy, Do you remember when we went to the Vatican a few years ago and we were standing out in the with Bill. We took him with us, and we were standing out in the Vatican's what do they call it, the square there, and the Pope was supposed to come out and speak. And sure enough, there's Bill walks out with the Pope, and this Italian guy next to me leans over and go, "Hey, who's that up there with Bill?" There you go, Bill. There's your joke of the day.
That's a good one.
Who's on the line?
I don't know. Let's see. Hey, you're on the edge of the falls. Who's this?
Hey, it's Rick.
Rick.
Hey, in a matter of fact, my balls aren't all wrinkled. I went ahead and bought some of that. Hey, I went ahead and bought some of that shit online that you go ahead and put under your eyes to go ahead and take away the sagging.
Yeah. You use it on your nuts?
Well, I put it on my nuts, but the problem I'm having is that it dripped down to my asshole. Now I can't shit.
Please stop that.
Rick, always a pleasure, brother.
Love you guys. Bye.
All right, later, bro.
All right, a lot of fun here in the studio, but
you know what? We don't get the same 4 callers all the time.
No, I worry about the callers.
That was unexpected.
So there we are. We've had Bill on the camera, and he's sitting there going, "Am I going to speak?" No,
I'm not worried about am I going to speak. I'm just you're
just being careful.
To each his own. But I'm not. That is definitely not anything I want to talk about, hear about, or listen about.
Your balls?
Good. No, his.
I'm with you. It's kind of weird. It's kind of weird. It is. When Rick, don't call us back. But when you say that, drip down and it got in your butthole, kind of weird, brother.
So, Bill, how was your week? What were you up to?
I'm up to about 6 feet.
And you spent a lot of time alone on Wednesday night, I think. Yeah.
For a couple hours. Anyway.
Well, why don't we, rather than making it an elephant in the room, of course, those of you who are tuning in probably know that, of course, Bill is a city councilor. And Bill went forward. Tell us what happened on Wednesday, the bill that you put, or I call it a bill, pardon me, the amendment for an item on the agenda of council, correct?
Yes. I proposed a resolution that was to be walked onto the agenda because after watching what's been going on in the country, the back and forth between the president and the governors, the Senate members, the congressmen, and or Congress people, it is just crazy. It's just constant moving parts. It's chaos. It's egos. It's everything. And I'm tired of Niagara Falls always picking up crumbs. I want Niagara Falls to have a seat at a table for once and have a 7-course meal. I don't care if it's a 6-pack and a potato. I want a full meal, but I'm tired of picking up crumbs. So my thought is there's so many people have contacted me, and I'm not exaggerating in the slightest. And I'm also talking about prominent business owners in Niagara Falls saying, Bill, I don't know how I'm going to make it back. I don't know how I'm going to get my employees back. I'll be okay to pay my bills for the time being, but how am I ever going to get my business? How am I ever going to, we don't have the tourists. So a lot of these factors kept playing into and I'm like, we got to do something. I mean, everybody's, there's some people that have said, well, the mayor wrote a letter to the president. That's wonderful. That's what he's supposed to do. I'm glad that he did that.
I wrote a letter to the president.
So
he wrote me
that's
back.
Fine. I don't work for the mayor.
Right.
The city council doesn't work for the mayor. The city council works for the residents of Niagara Falls, and we represent the residents and the taxpayers of Niagara Falls. So to me, I was like, let's have another voice. Let's do something proactive that I've been saying since I got elected. Let's be proactive and not be reactive. I literally have been saying this probably every other meeting. I mean, that could be an exaggeration, but I say it a lot. So I'm thinking, I saw the projections. I saw the things that are talking about, you could lose your first responders, especially for the city of Niagara Falls. Everybody wants to point to the police department and the fire department. How about the DPW? The DPW is basically the offensive line for our football team. Without DPW doing what they do, the police department, the fire department, the quarterback, the running back, the wide receiver, they don't get to move and do the things that without DPW functioning properly. So if we have a cut in services and we have a cut in personnel, it's gonna be a very, very difficult. I mean, we're already in a big hole as it is. It's going to be a very, very difficult mountain to climb. So my thought is, how do we fix this? How do we try? How do we get Niagara Falls in the room for a lot of these asks? And I know Congressman Higgins has been doing an amazing job. Mm-hmm. You know, he was very animate about the fact of things for the CARES Act, Niagara County being mentioned and proposed for $18 million, Niagara Falls being proposed for a little over $24 million. So I included a lot of those things in a resolution requesting that the federal government help us out during this pandemic. And I mean, you guys saw what happened. I'm still like, I now know after having multiple conversations why it got shot down, but it's not the right reasons. It's absolutely the reasons are just, it's terrible, because if any one of them,
come on, don't dance around. Tell us what the reason. I'm going
to tell you. So I was being told that it was inaccurate. Okay, so if the word earmarked is inaccurate, then let's talk about it and change whatever word we think is right. Let's amend the item. Let's talk about the item. Let's go through it and submit it for next week or next meeting. Bring that up. Let's talk about it. It was proposed. I motioned to walk it on. Everybody put their heads down and didn't. There wasn't even a second motion to accept it, to even make it an item. And to me, like I said, even on one of my palm cards, I said I would stand up for the citizens of Niagara Falls when I felt liberties were being taken at their expense. And to me, when do you ask if you're in the middle of a crisis, a nationwide crisis? How do you not ask? Because a question is an inquiry for knowledge.
Right. If
we don't ask, no one's going to just walk around and randomly go, this isn't Oprah. Here's 20 million for you, 20 million for you, 20 million. It's not like that. I understand there's a process. That seemed to be one of the hang-ups for one of the council members. There's a process that we have to go through. Okay, so then let's talk about the process. If that's your reason or your hang-up, then let's talk about it. But the very bottom line is they're playing petty politics, and that's a horrible, horrible reason for this to get shot down.
Terry Lasher-Klein just told us what she heard right after you made the proposal. That sounded like it in council chambers.
So Bill, after you walked it on, you proposed it, and nobody seconded it. What was going through your mind right then? What were you thinking?
I said what I thought. I looked around. You guys say that you care, but you won't even look at this. Here's the thing that really, really upset me. They didn't even make copies of this. Usually when there's a walk-on item, there's copies made. It's like, hey, guys, this is the item that we're going to walk on tonight and vote to walk on and blah, 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 blah. Here's the item. There was not a single copy of my resolution in front of any one council member or anybody else that was in that chamber that night except for me. I brought my own because I wanted to make sure that it was on record that I tried. So when, someone's like, well, nobody ever tried or nobody ever asked. I wanted to. I asked to ask. But it literally turned into, I literally felt like as soon as I mentioned it, it turned into a room of monks where everybody just went.
Yeah, that's what it looked like. That's what it looked like. Ladine Master said, "Hey, did they say no?" Yeah, I guess no. They didn't say no, but no, it turned into now's not the right time. And I talked to the mayor and I talked to my colleagues, and they don't think that while it has merit, this isn't the right time. When's the right time? Yeah, this is definitely the right time. This is definitely the right time.
Okay, so if we're forecasting, and this has been said by multiple people, the mayor has said it. We've talked to. We looked over the So if we're forecasting to be without money in November, do you wait till you're at zero to ask? Do you wait till you're at zero to ask? That is like I said, I want to work with my colleagues. I have tried over and over from the very beginning, because in case everybody doesn't know, I'm not in anybody's circle. I don't, Before people were like, oh, well, the Deister administration, I'm not a Deister guy. I wasn't a Deister guy. I'll never be a Deister guy. Do I respect Paul for what he did and tried? Sure. Anybody put your name out there, go ahead. But the thing is that I wasn't in that circle. Now we have a new administration. I'm Bill. That's it. I'm not in anybody's clique. I'm not in anybody's circle. I ran because I wanted to stop erratic spending, and I wanted to stop the chaos of the good old boys clubs. And this has been going on for 30, 40, 50 years. This isn't just something new. But the thing is that this is why Niagara Falls is the way it is. We never try. And I'm tired of it.
That's a good point. By the way, Ladine corrected and said, she said, why did they say no? And so I think she wanted to get that across. And she wanted also to know, is it money that we'd have to pay back?
No. If the federal government says, here's a grant, I could be wrong. Like Houston just got $404 million. I understand they have 500,000 people, and it's a whole different ballgame. But if the everybody's concerned just like before, like when the governor gave us money, it's like, here's an advance on your casino money, we got to pay it back. That's different, completely different. So if the federal government says, here's this to bail yourself out, now if they say, here's a loan, then well, of course we have to pay it back. To me, it is mind-boggling to me. It is upsetting to me. It is disappointing to me that some council members can say, when I said, like, hey, I'm planning on proposing this, that, oh, that's great, sounds good, anything's better than nothing. And then we have the meeting and, oh, I can't vote for this. So what you're saying is you flip-flop, and what you're saying is you told me one thing to my face and did something else out on the meeting floor. Believe me, I'll remember that.
Bill, I have to ask you this, why what is their reasoning besides the verbiage, of them, especially if this is grant money. Now I'm kind of, I'm just, my blood is boiling a little bit inside. So if you're looking at grant money that doesn't have to be paid back.
Well, the thing is, like, if we don't know what it is. It's earmarked in the CARES. I said earmarked in the resolution. That was one of the hang-ups. So it was a proposal. The number was there from Congressman Higgins. That's what I actually spoke with multiple people to make sure those numbers were accurate. The number is accurate, and I said earmarked, and that seemed to be an issue. So all it had to be is lingo and logistics, and let's fix it. So that's why I said, let's just talk about it. So let's talk, sit down, unify, whatever we got to do to make a proposal. But then it turned into this, there's a process. There's this. There's
chain of command, blah, blah, blah. As well as me. Do you think New York State is going to give us any money that we do not have to pay back, that they're not already taking from us?
Well, this is another thing that I brought up after the meeting. I don't know about everybody else that's on the council. I don't know about the administration. I'm not confident that the governor is, like, if the money is given, to the state and the state's supposed to distribute it to whoever, however, I'm not confident in that. So if the federal government says, here's $24 million for Niagara Falls, then Cuomo has no option but to give $24 million to Niagara Falls.
I'm with you. Cheers, brother. That's, you're exactly right. And I think anybody that does believe that Cuomo is going to do exactly what Cuomo is supposed to do is another part of the problem here.
Well, here's the thing. I don't even care if I'm wrong. I don't even care if I'm wrong in the approach. We don't even try.
Right.
I could be, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the way I went about it, maybe it's wrong. Maybe it's not. Let's try. Let's find out. Let's get the door slammed in our face and told that we're not getting this money. Well, instead of just, you cannot hit a ball out of the park if you don't get taken at bat. You got to swing at a pitch.
You quoted Wayne Gretzky today. You said you miss 100% of the shots you don't make.
I told you, it's one of my favorite quotes. I mean, I love sports. You guys know that. But you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. That is from one of the top 3 greatest athletes of all time and arguably the best.
Absolutely. I just a thought for you, Bill, with regard to this. Here you walk into council and you make this proposal. We have Mitch McConnell said that the smaller municipalities that are in financial jeopardy, he made a suggestion that they should declare bankruptcy. You've got
that's probably one of the worst things that I think I may have ever seen in political history.
But what's happening is, what you're saying is, we don't know what's out there. We don't know what the needs or what the way of addressing it is. Are there grants? Are there loans? Is the government considering it, and based on what the overall need is? And you just want to get our hat in the ring, get us in front of the line, so that we can be part of that process.
Okay, and that's you just hit the bell. I mean, like, that's one of the things that I've said to a few people, is that obviously when there's a lot of people in this city, and I'm sure some of them are listening right now, that have made the comment, well, there's a boatload of other cities that are in the same position as us. Even more so, why we should be asking now, so we can stand in line first and stop waiting for the leftover stuff that falls on the floor. I want a seat at the table. I'm tired of it. It's ridiculous. I knew things were bad when I decided to run. I knew it was bad. Now I'm on the inside. It's 10 times worse than I even imagined. And the thing is that I feel like, I'm trying, and I hope people see that. The thing is, I'm not doing this for credit. I'm not doing this for my name. I'm not doing this for recognition. I'm doing it because I care, and I'm getting to the point now where I'm getting pissed off. And if I get pissed off, I don't even want to try to explain what.
Bill, I want to squash something. Everybody talks about bankruptcy and it'll affect our loan interest rates. I'm pretty sure that our loan interest rates are already shit. Are we able to borrow money now, anyways?
We could possibly be getting downgraded to the lowest bond marketing rating available.
I don't. You kind of know, because we've been friends for a long while. Yes, we have been friends for a long while. Anyways, I hate to say it, but you've convinced me, that you care now. The others, not so much. Bill, I don't know. Maybe all this chatter of a control board. I'm sorry, Bill. Maybe it's time to bring in some outsiders to look at it. It worked for Buffalo.
I understand. This is another point. Every time something happens or money is given out or whatever, it's always Buffalo, Buffalo, Buffalo. What about Niagara Falls? What about Niagara Falls? And the thing is that if you're utilizing a nationwide emergency crisis, pandemic, to push a political agenda, I got an issue with that. If it happened in a natural way and we just couldn't pay our bills, fine. You're going to use a national crisis to push your platform of breaking and going bankrupt to smash union contracts. Get out of here. Get out of here.
You think that's what's happening in Niagara Falls? Is that what you're insinuating?
Oh, I'm not insinuating. I know that's what's happening.
That's okay. Then good. I wanted you to just admit that and outright.
Oh,
okay?
I'm not. I don't have to admit it. It's obvious. It's obvious.
All right. And you know what? It's funny. Me and you talked a little bit before the show. I consider myself a real Republican. Okay. There's nothing. I don't waver. I don't waver in my views. I don't think any different. You said, "Oh, Bill Carroll, this, Bill Carroll." I think we've all learned Bill Carroll is a rhino. I'm sorry. I hate to say it. He's a 70-year-old rhino. He should not be calling any shots for the Republican Party. He does not think like us. He does not walk our streets. He does not do what we do. You said it earlier. There's a reason why you think a little bit different, Bill, is because you've been there. You've been broke. You haven't had that fucking pompous ass, spoon shoved down your throat. Excuse me for getting a little bit worked out, but Oh, yeah, how can I say that? Oh, Brett, why don't you run for city council? They couldn't handle me on city council. I'm surprised they can handle you. What I like about you is that you have balls. Don't bend over. Don't kiss ass. And me and you have talked about this many times, even when you were running. I was going to run.
Yep.
One thing about both of us, we weren't going to bend over. We weren't going to kiss anybody's ass.
Well, and
we need more people like that.
That's exactly it. The thing is, I'm not going to kiss anybody's ass. That's never, I'm not going to get into who said what and who did these type of things.
People need to know, Bill.
Well, but the thing is, for me, is that I'm and just like when I campaigned, people kept asking me, what happened to or what's up with these the other two incumbents at the time. And I said, I'm not here to talk about them. I'm here to tell you why I think I'm a good candidate. I don't go around bashing people. That's just not my style. It's never going to be anything good. You don't get nothing good comes of it. I'm upset because I'm supposed to be part of a team that's supposed to work together. But as soon as somebody tells somebody what else to say, even though they know that what they're doing is not right, then I got an issue with that. That's why I said, like, I get an email that says, hey, this has merit, or, this is a good idea, but I spoke with the mayor and my colleagues. Like, so what you told me in person that you think it's great, it's better than nothing, but then you tell me after you talk to them that you switch your mind. Now anything.
You know that we hit on that all the time. You already know that.
Yeah, but now anytime that person's going to say something to me, I'm just going to be like, yeah, okay, whatever.
And you know what? And that's the way you should be.
And if you're listening, you know exactly who you are. I'm not playing games anymore. You guys can shun me, cut me out, whatever you think. I am going to continue to do what I think is right.
Listen, let me ask you this question, Bill. You're a Democrat, correct?
I'm a registered Democrat, but you guys know I will just do what I think is
okay.
Best.
Let me ask you this: if you were the Democratic chairman, I'm not even saying hypothetically, I want to know your honest to God's truth, and you consider yourself a staunch Democrat, would you back the candidate that runs on your platform? You understand where I'm going with this already. When when they turned their back on Glenn Chilockian in the Republican Party, and I believe that Bill Carroll had a lot to do with that. Would you have ever done that?
It's tough to say but I'll give you an example. So here's how I function. So I am on the county committee for the Democrats, and we didn't have a true blue Democratic candidate for sheriff. And to me, when you have somebody that comes in, one candidate switched to the Democratic Party in recent, within the last, we'll just say 6 months, and you had another candidate who was a Democrat his entire life for the most part, then switched over to Republican, and has been functioning in the capacity that he's running for. Okay, so if you guys can obviously connect the dots, whatever,
right?
That those candidates came to the meeting. They presented what they wanted to present, and when it was all said and done, they were like, well, I don't know if we can endorse this and we can endorse that. And I stood up and I said, here's what you do. We don't have a true blue Democratic candidate right now. You need to endorse the person that you think is the best qualified and ready to function in this capacity for this position. And to me, and I'll even say it right here, is that person is Mr. Filicetti.
Okay, and I see where you're going with that, and you understand where I'm going, with what I'm talking about. When, I feel that Glenn had enough signatures to be a Republican, that he should have had the Republicans backing him.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's where I was going. That's where I was going with that.
I'm sorry. I misunderstood.
And I know that, I kind of put you on the spot on purpose because I know you would answer, honestly. Would you vote for your Democratic Party, no matter what? That there was history. Glenn did this. Glenn did that. Glenn should have dropped out back when he cost Virtuoso, or not Virtuoso.
He cost Accardo.
Yes.
Okay.
So you've heard all that already.
Yes, I've heard all
what I
those
want to
stories.
know is, from you being Bill Kennedy, do you think that they did Glenn wrong?
Well, if he's the member of your, now I can speak from experience. Before I got elected and before everything changed, years and years ago, I had switched over to the Working Families Party. Okay, I moved and I never reaffiliated or anything because I lived in California and I lived in Arizona. I moved back, and when I went to run, I had to seek the permission, the Wilson Pagula, to actually run on the Democratic line. I went to the Working Families endorsement meetings, and I did not receive the Working Families endorsement. They gave it to the two incumbents and somebody else. So having been shunned by them, I know exactly how Glenn felt, and that those are things that you can't get back. So like when for Glenn, I mean, he may have, tiptoed both lines for a little too long, and it may, but would that have upset me? Would I mean, yeah, I would have been upset because I obviously for me to bring up what happened to me, like, I don't forget that stuff. That's why I said, like, people think like, oh, yeah, this happened. Well, I'm not going to forget. I'm not going to forget.
Unfortunately, you're one person on a council, and I hate to say it, but it, and two-faced yes men that that will go with the flow. Unfortunately.
Well, and the thing for me, like I said, you guys asked me to come on. I said, yeah, I'll come on and talk about it. I mean, am I upset? Yeah, I'm upset. But the thing is, they think it's funny. It's not funny. They think, oh yeah, but. Or it's not the right time. Like that is seriously, it might be the worst excuse I've ever heard as far as all of this.
Yep. Guys, we're going to take a 2-minute break here and run something, and then we're going to be right back with Bill Kennedy. Sorry to interrupt. Yowawa Media presents the biography of broadcast boredom. The story of those in our region who keep us annoyed with the same 4 callers. The man was a legend, known for his soft-spoken style and his one-sided camera angle, always showcasing his ear and the side of his face, sometimes in a red shirt, others in a white shirt, more in a gray shirt, and occasionally in a blue shirt. Shuffling papers, he was a true original, former mayor whose legacy includes prison, and his style was sparkingly original. Vince Anello feels strongly about President Trump, with a passion far beyond any other broadcaster in our area. His commercial pitches were the stuff of legends. His introductions shone like the sun each morning he delivered them.
Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Vince Anello's show on WJJL 1440. Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the Vince Anello show on WJJL 1440. You can reach us.
Vince Anello loves the people of Niagara, about 4 or 5 of whom he has on the show at every turn. His choice of guests is remarkable. The man, the broadcaster, the mayor, and the bitch to the lifer on D Block. Biographies of Broadcast Boredom salutes Vince Anello, the voice and ear of Niagara Falls. We invite you to tune in for our next program, a tribute to Tony Puff Piece Farina.
Hell yeah,
right.
That was a good one. That was a good one, Mystic. I'm digging it, and you could tell by all the laughing emojis that are still coming up in the hearts that everybody was digging that.
And Amy Spillman, well, let me do a quick rundown here. Amy Spillman, it was you who inspired it yesterday, if you remember, because the first thing the Madman said is we got to do a skit. So thank you, Amy.
Yep, you did. You really did.
Want to thank Tim Heather. By the way, I don't know if it was Tim or someone else. Someone said about censorship. When we use copyright music, we're violating copyright.
That was Jen.
Yeah, and it's not censorship. What it is protecting the rights of copyright holders.
We went through that already, so that's why we now use free stuff so that nobody can turn us in or do all that shit.
And we're gonna write a whole bunch of new songs.
Everybody loves me, Mystic, so they're not gonna turn us in.
Well, no, but it's the bots. You know that? It's the bots. I
was being sarcastic.
Yeah, I know. But anyway, so everyone, the great piping in here. This is wonderful. And Terry Lasher Klein, I'm going to conclude with this. She was asking about the counselor whose name we don't mention. You know, the one whose initials are Kenny Tompkins. I'll just play his comments from the other night's meeting for you.
Guess I'm not fun enough to be invited.
Yep, there you go.
Me, I didn't get the council chair. I can't vote for myself.
Oh, no. Well,
get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. Okay, so Madman, you
Back to Bill Kennedy.
Yeah. No, but you wanted to talk about something that related to that.
Listen, I'm not the only one that has been talking about this. I mean, if you look on my page, or our page on Edge of the Falls, or other pages, a lot of people, Bill, are talking about a control board and been talking about this for a long time.
Sure.
What's your take, Bill?
Well, I've said it before. I'll say it again. I'll say it 100 times over. I did not get elected for a control board to come in here and do my job for me. So if somebody wants to clamor to, a political party's agenda to bring a control board in here because that's the way we break the union contracts, that's not my style, that's not what I am, and that's not what I'll do.
Taking the union aspect out of it, or breaking the unions, or whatever, if that wasn't where someone is trying to lead, and they're just saying, okay, the inability to spend correctly or bring us back up, out of the red, is not happening, Bill. A control board worked for Buffalo.
A soft control board worked for Buffalo, but again, if we're being driven into the ground on purpose, and people are going around and clamoring for the control board, and we can't do this, we can't do that. I am going to fight until my eyeballs hang out, until my back is pushed up. I'm pushed up against the wall, and I have no other choice. If it happens, and I tried, and I did everything I could, and we did everything we could as a city with, I really have a hard time believing that the governor is going to allow, if we're having issues now, but they've, we showed a little bit of promise. A lot of people forget that last year and the year before, you were looking at $12 and $13 million transfers and advances and things like that. And this year we were forecasted for a $9 million transfer of casino. So the thing is, we were working on it. We were starting to gain little bits of traction. And as much as people don't, like I said, I fully understand why a lot of people are upset about the user fee. That part of it. Imagine where we would be without that revenue right now, and imagine where we would be without all of those first responders, and imagine where we would be without those DPW workers. So the thing is that those little steps, those little increments were starting to happen. Now this happens to come in, and we're losing the tourist season, we're losing the parking revenue, we're losing the HRU and the sales tax and all of those things so if we're forecasting a $4 to $5 million loss in revenue towards the end of the year, we would have been 9 million, 4 million, 4 million. Then we would have been looking at economic collapse. At least we still have a fighting chance.
Bill, here's a dumb question, but I want to get your answer. You think that before this is all over, it's going to get worse?
Well, unless we, first and foremost, and I'll be very, very, very real and clear about this, I also understand that in the economic stimulus package, the CARES Act, that there's some legislation that has to happen, and there's even furthermore, no matter whatever they talk about, there has to be some legislation that changes the wording of how stimulus money and relief money and emergency funding is used, because right now it all has to be used for COVID and all of those type of things. But there is talk of it being changed so that, because even the mayor in Houston, if you saw the $404 million that was dished out to them, that there,
of course, people were talking about it, trying to compare us to Houston.
Right. Houston, we have a problem.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Well, so there has to be legislation in order for those things to be changed to help the day-to-day budget shortfalls. But again, we're not going to get anything unless we ask. It's still, like I said, each person is going to give me their answer of, well, there's a process, or this wording is incorrect. It's like, so then let's fix it. Let's talk about it. Let's sit down together and rehash it. I understand, like, we all can't meet, for, with the five of us and the mayor all together unless we're at the council meeting. But let's have a special meeting if we have to. Let's do something. I
was just going to say, why can't you? Why can't you guys meet?
Well, it's all as far as laws in public meetings with all of us, because so that way there's no. You always have to know so that it's transparency. We're sitting there, if we were to discuss those things. The very bottom line is that if the 5 of us wanted to meet with the mayor, we have to let everybody know. We have to call for a special meeting.
All right, so Terry Lester Klein, of course, she brought up a good point, and this is why I like her. She said Niagara Falls and New York, they cannot use COVID funds to bail their asses out because COVID didn't put us in the red last year.
Absolutely, and that's why I was very clear about. I wasn't asking for the money to come in and bail us out, but the thing is that we are, and I've mentioned it earlier. Had a couple prominent business owners contact me and say, I don't know how I'm going to come back.
Should we be open, Bill?
If we don't get these, should we be open?
Should we be open right now?
I don't know the answer to that. Would I like to say yes? Of course I would like to say yes, because I mean, we're human beings. We want to see and we want to interact and we want to be entertained and we want to live and we want to,
Not only that, Bill, but if our calculations are right and everything that they're projecting now, that the death rate is at like 0.1 or 0.01. Come on,
even if we were to flatline with numbers, I would still be very cautious because of as to how quickly this thing can spread and respike everything. That would be my caution. I would love to see us open, but I'm not going to be the one to sit there and say, yes, we should be open 100%.
Yeah, no, Bill Kennedy said.
yeah, exactly. So, but again, like for me, I'm concerned for our local businesses. Pine Avenue was already, you were already starting to see, plywood all over the place. It'll get worse if things don't happen and we don't get stimulated.
Bill, that's not because of COVID. Sorry, that's not because of COVID, brother.
I said it's already the start of it. The thing is that
talked about
it's going to get worse. When like I said, a very, very well-known prominent business owner on Pine Avenue contacts me and says, I don't know how I'm going to get my employees back. I don't know how I'm going to get my business back. We don't have tourists. We don't have people driving in, and I get it. And the thing is that now if those type of businesses are concerned and worried when you're normally making millions of dollars, the small, super small businesses you're going to see them all closed up.
Listen, my son and my daughter are at home collecting unemployment, getting $700 a week. They're like, fuck, we don't need to go back to work.
Right, but the thing is that all those fun and games are going to end at the end of July.
I know.
For most everybody. But but that's the thing. So I'm hoping that if people that are getting all of that money are building their little nest egg, that maybe they'll start their own business or whatever. The very bottom line is that we're not going to survive. We're going to be out of money in the city of Niagara Falls forecasting for November. How do you not ask now? And on top of this, how do you not ask when you have we're going around to department heads and saying, what can you do for us? Well, if I wouldn't be giving up anything if you didn't even ask for money. Why are we going to give you something without knowing what we're going to potentially get from the government?
Again, it's easy for me to sit back, and not say that I have all the answers. I definitely don't have all the answers. The more I think about it, I think last time you were on, you were asking, was I going to run? Hell no, I don't want to run. I hear everybody talk about now. Why would I want to run and have everybody ridicule me, make fun of me, tell me to vote this way, vote that way, you did this, you did that wrong, when everybody, maybe should realize it's not so easy.
Well, it's definitely not easy, and that's why, I even said for multiple decisions that I've made and multiple votes that I've gone through with, the one thing I can say is that even when I made an unpopular vote, is now it's starting to look like it was really the right thing to do.
You can't use this. It still was an unpopular vote, and at that time, if this didn't happen, again, my opinion, that is an unpopular vote. You're referring to the garbage fee?
Yes.
All right. It's like, no matter how you look at it, taking from people that don't have it, Bill.
That part, like I said, there's always going to be people that are upset, and there's always going to be people that were like, yeah, no, I understand it, because without without those fees, you don't have those 60, 70 families that I was telling you
about. Now, I guess I see, I don't know. Who knows? I don't know what would happen. Me, I want to say, okay, maybe if we went to arbitration, we would have somebody, a lawyer, besides, the 80-year-old, that has, some gumption and can maybe win, one.
Well, again, it's just a matter of if we can go to arbitration, but the thing is that that's not going to fix everything either. So I just feel like we got to ask questions. We have to take chances. We have to,
What's the word on the garbage fee? Is it going to hit next month, is the city going to push it off?
Terry Lasher-Klein just told us that she can't wait to get her bill.
Yeah, well,
has that been brought up, Bill? Have you heard anything? Is there scuttlebutt?
There was a postcard that went out that said that if you wanted to change the amount of totes that you had to whatever you want it to be, it had to be done by the end of this month. Like I told you guys, I told you I was going to go and ask, the administration to let's extend this date so that everybody can get into the the number into the system that they want and not assess any administration fees. So now that postcard went out, and now you're going to start seeing the bills probably in June and July.
All right, so they're not going to give anybody, and I guess I could see where Niagara Falls maybe isn't going. Niagara Falls is hurting. That they're counting on that money. They're still not going to give anybody a break. And I know that has nothing to do with you. I'm just venting to you.
Right, but here's now, and I'm not saying again, I get it. I have multiple family members and people that I know that are on fixed incomes and things like that. I get it, but the thing is that I can't make it personal. I had to do.
I get it.
I had to do what I thought was in the best interest of the city.
Bill, just this, no matter what, if there's federal money out there, and it's grant money, Jesus Christ, maybe smack one of them. What the fuck is wrong with them?
Hey, Bill, I just want to pose that to you as well. Is that something you said a few minutes ago when we talked about a control board, and Brett and I have talked back and forth about it. You are opposed to it. You don't want that.
Of course he's opposed to it.
But hang on, yeah, but he, at the same time, he's got 4 other people on council who seem to want to sit and wait for someone to come and fix it for him.
Ooh, that's a good way to put it, Peter.
I told you guys, I did not get elected to have someone come and do the job for me. If the money gods decide that that's what happens for Niagara Falls, and at some point that's a reality, then I have to deal with it then. But until it's a reality, I'm not going to believe it.
And I respect you because you're standing up trying to do things to not have a control board, and you got the rest of the council out there that really, I was appalled. I watched the episode this week on council.
Yeah, this week.
Yeah, Councilman. But what I watched, I know, but what I watched was you made a really strong point to say we've got to start doing something. There was a fire. You grabbed a bucket. No one else wanted. They were going to wait for the insurance adjuster to come out, like I've illustrated before, and wait. Let's find out what the damage is before we pour any water on it. You have the passion. You have the character that you don't want to have a control board. But the other 4, I mean, like I said, they're just waiting for it because they want someone to come fix it for them, and then they can claim they did it.
Well, and that's and then at resort, it's the back and forth. It's like, there's council members that wanted to make cuts, and there's council members that while they were campaigning said that these contracts are out of control and all of these things, and that's fine. That's their belief, and they're entitled to that. And I'll never dismiss that or push I'm not that guy that says I think this way, so my way is better than your way of thinking. I don't do that. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. But when you're talking about cut, we need to kill these contracts and do all of these things, well, now you're going to use a pandemic to drive the city into the ground. And to be honest with you, it's not even just this. They've been trying to push Niagara Falls into the ground for the last God knows how long. And the very bottom line is we're being driven into the ground on purpose so that there's people that own a lot of these properties that we've all talked about before that are down over there by the casino that are going to come in and swoop up and buy all these other properties when when the control board, if there was a control board, who do you think's coming in and buying all of that stuff? The people that were already planned on way before any of this pandemic happened.
Good point.
Yeah, we're going to have you on. We're going to talk about that some more. I want to skip, to Tim Hughes said the responsible people paid their bills right now and are in, aren't in that position. Unfortunately, Tim, usually I agree with you on everything you say. Maybe there isn't a lot of people in Niagara Falls that can afford to pay their bills on a monthly bill basis and live paycheck to paycheck, and not because they're doing anything other than living paycheck to paycheck, if that makes sense.
It makes sense to me, but the one thing I will say about all of this is, like, you mentioned your son, or and there's other people we all know that are getting the extra $600 or they're whatever it is, they're making $700 or $800 a week. Well, save $90 for the first payment, save $90 for the second payment, and stop buying TVs and trampolines and everything else.
Hold on, Bill. You think that the people getting unemployment are probably not the ones that are going to pay the garbage fee anyways?
I have watched, and I'm not exaggerating in the slightest. I go to Sam's Club. Every once in a while, I pick up a bunch of stuff. I drop off paper towels, toilet paper, all this stuff to my grandparents, to my mom, and I see people walking out with TVs, and it's not in like 4 or 5 people in a row with TVs. Well, look, let's just see. Let me do some math here. Oh, that's right. 2 days ago, they said the first round of stimulus checks dropped. Blah blah. Come on, like
I get it, Bill. I get it.
No, I know what I'm saying. And then people say, "Well, I didn't have the money to pay my rent, and I didn't have the money to pay pay the user fee." Well, I mean, you did, but you chose otherwise.
Look, when I refer to you people, it's not a good thing. It's the you people here. The you people here are killing Niagara Falls.
Well, I mean, like I said, I literally, I'm trying, and to me, when it's disappointing, it's disheartening, it's distraughting. I'm very, it's upsetting. I always want to try to do what's best. And for me, what I saw the other night and the talk that I had with the council members and the mayor afterwards it's mind-blowing.
Your dad said made in China.
Oh, that's your dad, is it?
Oh, yeah.
And who's Jason Barlow? He seems to be really, do we know him?
Jay's a great guy.
Is he? Oh, good, because I put you down as his favorite. Because he made a joke earlier that we should vote you out.
Oh, that's fine. I mean, like I said, there's a lot of people that are going to say, hey, I did not, and I've said this before, I have to govern as if I'm not going to get reelected.
Right.
And that's exactly what I've been doing.
No, and you've been standing by your guns, and that's great. Well, what do you say, Madman? We're after 8 o'clock. Is everyone kind of tired?
Yeah. I think for the reason that Bill's on here and us talking about this tonight, we had a good show. I think everybody stayed entertained.
For sure, and that's like I told you guys even before we came on. It's like, the other council members, they have their views and their agendas and their thoughts and their beliefs. That's fine.
The other council members can come on here too and do exactly what you're doing.
This particular item is a tough pill to swallow, because, like I said to them, it's like, you guys say you care, but then you do this. Like, that's where I'm just like, man, like I really thought we were trying to work together, but you want to put me on Exile Island? Then fine, I'll stay there and be the lone wolf.
Tim Hughes said, "Hey, Bill, is the aggravation of being a city councilman really worth it?"
Of course. I mean, I'm here because I'm passionate, and I'm here because I care. Are there a lot of things that drive me insane? Absolutely. I'm human. Are there things that make me go, they always say things, or the song, things that make it go, Well, yeah, there's a lot of that happens, but I want to try to be part of the equation that fixes it. I want to be part of the people always have excuses instead of coming up with solutions. I'm trying. I'm never going to have all the answers. I say this all the time. I've said it at interviews. I've said it in meetings. I'm never going to have all the answers, but I'll try to find them after whatever it is we're talking about. Or in that particular case, like, all right, if somebody thinks I went about it the wrong way, but I had good intentions or I get points for trying, I'm not looking for points. I just want to try. I want us to try. I want Niagara Falls to take and be proactive. Take some, not take a chance. I don't want to, because I don't want to gamble, but let's ask.
Let me close on on this, and just give everybody to think about. We have been led by people that have not walked in our shoes, in Niagara Falls for how many years? For how many years have we been led by people that aren't like us? It's time for us to change things and get people in there making decisions that know what it's like to live on the streets, that have been there, that have had, that have lived life. Are you guys with me?
Well, you know how I feel about that. If there's one thing I can say, and anybody that knows me, I grew up on these streets. I've lived these streets. I've seen the good, bad, and the ugly of these streets. And a lot of the times it wasn't because I was in the wrong place. It was literally wrong things started happening. Even something as simple as going.
Even if you were in the wrong place and the shit happened, it's a learning lesson. You've been there. You lived it. You made it through it, Bill.
Absolutely. But what I'm saying is, like, there's times where a friend of mine would call me up and say, "Bill, I need you to come and get me. Like, I'm in, something's going. All right, dude, I'll come and get you." And then I walk into a house and, it was like a movie scene. There's, horrible, horrible things going on, and I'm just like, oh my God. But the one thing I can say is, like, living on the streets, having grown up and having to, pretty much fight to walk down the street, or, having a gun pulled on you or a knife pulled on you. To me, it's like I love my city. I love our city. I love the people of the city. There's so many good things here, but we never encompass it, and we're never truly a whole, well-oiled machine functioning at the same time, and we're not ambassadors for the same things at the same time.
We're going to let you end on that, but I think, like you said, it's hard to love the people around here, Bill, because the people make it hard.
And that's the thing, is that I feel like I still, no matter what, I always have a belief that even if someone is not, if you consider them to not be a good person, I'll always try to find the good in them. I'll always do that. That's just who I am. Now, don't get me wrong, if somebody crosses me multiple times, or I've given them that chance, or you've seen this person doing these things, or unfortunately, some of the people that have been around, and there's well-known people that are begging for money or causing, chaos at 7-Elevens and things like that. Yeah, after a while, I still, even when I see that, still want to believe, like, hey, this person just needs some help.
You know what? I guess you have to look at it like that, and that is a great way to be in Niagara Falls. Unfortunately, everybody doesn't think like that.
It is unfortunate, but again, I'm just a kid from the Falls. I want to try to do my best. I always want to do what I feel is right in my heart, and I'm still blown away at the fact that we didn't even ask. And literally, when I made the motion for that resolution, it literally turned into just put your head down, and like I felt like we were I should have been playing like thumbs up in 4th grade. Like, do you know who just touched your thumb? Like, because it was like this. Like, come on, man, really? All right.
I think now in the you are getting a lot of talk and a lot of chatter on this, that these guys have to look back on this, and no matter what, look like idiots. All right, I'm out.
All right. Well, Bill, thank you very much. When you get a chance, watch this episode. You'll see a lot of great comments, compliments that came from people. Thank you, everyone, piping in. Terry Lasher-Klein, we haven't seen you this feisty in months. It's good to see you back.
It's funny. It's funny you don't hear from Terry forever. You mention a user fee. It's like, I can't wait till I get my user fee in the mail.
Hey, listen, she's the one who got the madman yelled at by when.
Yes, she did. It was all her fault too.
Yeah, when what's his name?
She kept talking. He blamed it on me.
What's his name? The chair.
It's not a tumor.
Yeah. Thanks, Arnold. All right. Well, we're gonna sign off. We're back Monday night at 7:00. Our special guest will be President Trump, but I'm not sure if he'll make it every time he cancels on us. But have a great weekend, folks. Take care of each other.
Well, he called it Monday before it was actually called Monday, right?